The Battle of Medway, 43 CE, was the first major recorded battle of the Roman invasion of Britain. Under the orders of Emperor Claudius, the battle is thought to have been fought at a crossing of the River Medway near modern-day city of Rochester, Kent, England, and it raged on for nearly 2 days. The British force was led by two brothers, Togodominus, king of the Catalavoni, and Caratacus, a chieftain of the same tribe. The Roman invasion force, under the command of Aulus Plautius, which consisted of 4 legions, a force approximately 20,000 strong. On hearing of the Roman landing, the British tribes united to fight them under the command of Togodominus and his brother Caratacus of the Catalavoni tribe. After 2 indecisive skirmishes in eastern Kent, the British force met the advancing Romans at the River Medway. Cassius Dio, a Roman historian, stated that the battle opened with the Batavians using their skill of swimming across rivers in full equipment. They probably went a little downstream, where the current was slower. Then, out of sight, they crossed the river and surprised the British. Then the Batavians attacked the British rear and wounded the horses that pulled their chariots. British morale would have been affected by the loss of their horses, and that the Romans had easily crossed the tidal river. Strategically, the British charioteers were now forced to become slow-moving infantry. The British force was spread out thinly along the whole riverbank, now with fewer horses and not knowing where the main attack would come. With 4 legions at his disposal, Plautius would have sent one to attempt to make the initial river crossing. He chose the 2nd Legion, led by Vespasian. Vespasian's first task was to decide on a crossing place for his attack, for somewhere easily passable by his troops. Having crossed the river, the Romans would attack a small island. Having taken this island, possibly at dusk, the surrounding water would have made it easier for Vespasian's legion to defend the position against the expected British counterattack. After the crossing was made, Vespasian may well have established a small bridgehead on the far bank. The battle continued to rage on all day without any decisive result. On the 2nd day, the Romans launched a daring attack under the command of Heinnius Geta, who was almost killed in the fighting that followed. However, Geta's troops rallied around their commander, and the Britons were eventually overcome, with the bulk of the British force taking flight. The fact that the battle lasted for 2 days indicates that it must have been a significant encounter. The final British stand may have taken place on the prominent high ground overlooking the river. This seems a probable location of the British High Command throughout the battle. The British would naturally have fallen back to the best defendable position. Togodominus was killed in the fighting or died soon after. Perhaps it had been decided that he should lead the last stand, whilst his brother Caratacus left the battlefield to regroup with the remaining British forces and fight another day. Caratacus continued resistance until beaten in 50 CE. Having won the Battle of Medway, the Romans would have followed up quickly by killing as many retreating British troops as possible. This was the task normally done by the auxiliary cavalry. Their objective was to kill enemy soldiers so they were no longer a threat to Rome. As it led to 400 years of Roman rule, with its legacy still seen today, I believe the Battle of Medway was one of the most significant battles in British history, along with Hastings in 1066.